Hey everyone, so now that we've talked about how to receive constructive criticism or constructive feedback, let's talk about now how to give it. So here we go. All right, a long time ago, I was taught this, and I still teach this to this day because when something works, why fix it? So, anyways, we're going to do what's called a constructive sandwich. It's really simple. So, if you're ever a manager, a boss, a leader, advisor, or someone in charge of a person or group of people, and you need to help them improve and get better, like how do you dress up the criticism in order to make it a positive experience for everybody and to help grow people without tearing them down or anything? So the first thing you want to do in a constructive feedback is one, give constructive or give positive feedback. Hey, you are doing fantastic on this, this, and this. We're really excited. You're doing a great job. Now, one thing that we're going to talk about in the next slide is avoid the word but. That's absolutely correct, because what happens is when you use the word but, it negates all the positives you just talked about it. It's like, hey, you're doing great, but, and you're like, oh, here it comes. So use the word and instead. Just be like, hey, you're doing great here, here, and here. And a couple ways to improve is 1, 2, and 3. That way it doesn't negate the first positive things you said. Now we're just talking about, hey, here's how to grow, here's how to improve. And then dress it up at the end with some other positive feedback or something, give them a compliment, and truly do identify some real authentic things that help somebody improve. Okay, couple tips. These are in your assignment too, but just want to acknowledge a few of them. Okay, one thing I used to do for a job, and I'll probably get back into someday, is I was a high school and college referee for basketball. And we used to give feedback to each other constantly. If you ever see the referees go off the court or something and they go in the locker room, trust me, they're talking about the plays, they're talking about how to improve, and everything. So definitely choose a non-stressful environment, a place that's safe, not too noisy or anything, and that they can be honest and real. Don't do it in front of other peers or anything. That way, you don't feel embarrassed or anything. That way, it's between the person in charge and the person receiving the feedback. Okay, acknowledge the person's recent successes. We talked about that already. Avoid using the word but, use the word and talk about how to improve. Always positive, always growing, always moving forward. Be kind, caring, patient. I know everybody thinks, oh, I hate my boss, or this boss is bad, or this boss is mean. Hey, this is a perfect time to destroy those myths about bad bosses or anything. And you can be successful and still be kind, caring, and have patience with that person, because nobody's ever perfect. You're not going to be perfect. So we always have room for improvement, even the boss and the manager, maybe most of all. Okay, and then also talk about how improving not just helps themselves, but the business and the team and everything. All right. And the main question I always like to answer is like, why are we doing this? And I think we've talked about this before in some of your other classes, but there's a thing between having a growth mindset, somebody who's always growing and improving and constantly learning, or you have somebody who has a fixed mindset, is saying, hey, I'm good, I'm perfect, I don't need a change, blah, blah, blah. That's a fixed mindset. And in business, we always talk about it as business. You're either growing or you're dying. There's no difference. It's just like our plant over here on the right. And I'm going to give you a second to guess on what that plant's called. I'll tell you in a minute. But just like plants and people, we're either growing or we're dying. We're moving forwards or we're moving backwards. We're never not just staying neutral. A lot of people are like, I am Switzerland, I will stay neutral. No, you're not. You're either growing or you're dying. You're moving forward or you're moving backwards. So that's why it's important to receive criticism, give criticism, is that you have a growth mindset. And unfortunately, I've discovered this as I get older, is you get into this position where you're like, I'm X amount of years old, I know it all, I've seen it all. Hey, I am 34 years old. I think I've seen it all, and just when I think I've seen it all, life throws me a different curveball. I'm like, oh, I have never seen that one before. Oh, and for any of you plant people out there, the plant on the right is called a money tree. I thought that was fitting for this one, so hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.